Today, we're going to unpack the, well, surprising journey of Pidgeot in the competitive Pokemon scene.
Right. Across the different generations, we've looked at player discussions, analyses.
Yeah, exactly. We'll dig into its strengths, its, frankly, very real weaknesses.
Oh, yeah.
And those moments, those unexpected moments where this majestic bird actually sort of took flight competitively.
And we know you want the interesting bits, the surprising stuff, without wading through everything, so we'll try and pull out the key parts of Pidgeot's story.
It's fascinating, isn't it? The difference between how iconic Pidgeot looks.
Totally. It's like one of the first Pokemon everyone remembers.
And how it actually performed.
Yeah.
For so long, anyway.
Exactly. The nostalgia just doesn't always cut it on the battlefield. So our goal here is figure out why it struggled and then what eventually changed things up.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Generation 1. The very beginning, it sounds like. Well, not a great start for Pidgeot.
That's putting it mildly. A massive understatement, really. Pidgeot's debut was rough. Its base stats were just unimpressive compared to the big threats.
Like who? What dominated back then?
Oh, you had the bulky normal types, Tauros, Snorlax. Pidgeot's physical defense was so low, they'd often just knock it out in one hit.
And it couldn't hit back hard enough?
Not really, no. Couldn't break through their high HP. And it wasn't just them. We saw mentions of Starmie, Alakazam, Lapras.
Gengar, Rhydon, Golem.
Yeah, the list goes on. It sounds like it lost to pretty much everyone important.
That's a fair summary. And it wasn't just the stats, you know. Its move pool was a major liability, too.
How so?
Well, it's fight flying moves, fly and sky attack. They were 2-turn moves.
Ah, okay. So you're vulnerable on that first turn.
Precisely. You're just sitting there. It actually made Pidgeot lose, believe it or not, one-on-one against Exeggutor.
Gets a grass type. Ouch.
Yeah, exactly. You'd think flying beats grass, but that charge-up turn was killer.
And defenses weren't helping either, I gather. Nope. Poor defenses,
Yeah.
Very few useful resistances. I mean, it resisted Earthquake, sure,
Let's see.
but it usually lost to the things using Earthquake anyway because it was just too frail.
So, not fast, not strong, can't take a hit. What about Mirror Move? I read something about that being a potential, gimmick.
Ah, yes, the mirror move strategy. The idea was you predict an Earthquake coming, maybe aimed at your rock type,
Switch Pidgeot in.
and use mirror move to bounce it back.
Sounds clever on paper. Why didn't it work?
It's just too risky, relying on a prediction like that. Super impractical. You're basically gambling.
And even if it worked.
The payoff wasn't huge. Pidgeot still wasn't a major threat afterwards. Plus, lots of people just used Dodrio instead. Apparently, it was just better.
Right, so Gen 1, a total wash. Did things get any better in Generation 2? New types, new moves?
Unfortunately, no, not really. Steel types came along, resisting both normal and flying.
Bad news for Pidgeot's attacks.
Exactly. And yeah, I got moves like Steel Wing or maybe Hidden Power Ground, but analyses say it just wasn't enough. The core problem, those low stats, remained.
And the whole environment sounds tough, too. Cloyster, Skarmory, Snorlax still hanging around.
Oh, yeah. And the legendary dogs, Tyranitar. Lots of rest, sleep, talk strategies going on. It was often a slower, bulkier meta.
Not Pidgeot's game?
Not at all. It
Yeah.
couldn't break through those defensive walls consistently. And even in the lower tiers, like underused.
Dodrio was still better.
Yep. Pidgeot just didn't have a unique role, no real niche. It ended up, sadly, in the never used tier.
Never used. Like alongside Pokemon that aren't even evolved.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It was a really clear sign of where it stood competitively. Just there, not making any waves.
And Generation 3, please tell me it gets better eventually.
Afraid not. Gen 3 was maybe even worse.
Oh, no.
Well, you got permanent sandstorm weather from Tyranitar, which hurt frail things, and just more powerful threats emerged. Gengar, Salamence, Metagross, Duraki, Aerodactyl.
All tough matchups for Pidgeot, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. And then, the nail in the coffin, perhaps, Swallow arrived.
Another normal flying bird.
But faster
Yeah.
and stronger. It basically did everything Pidgeot wanted to do, but better.
Man, that's rough. It really undercuts that majestic image, doesn't it?
It does. Swallow just became the go-to fast-flying type. So yeah, Pidgeot was completely overshadowed.
So through Gen 3, 4, 5, mostly just stuck in never used. Maybe a tiny blip in NU or UU in Gen 4.
That's about right. It was pretty quiet for a long time, stuck way down in the usage tiers.
Okay, but then Generation 6, Mega Evolution. This sounds like the turning point.
Oh, absolutely. This is where the story gets really interesting. It was like night and day. Maybe Pidgeot arrives.
And suddenly it's good.
Good doesn't quite cover it. It became a terror in the underused tier. Utterly terrorizing, as one analysis put it.
Wow. Why? What changed so drastically?
The stat boosts were huge, especially special attack and speed. Suddenly, this thing was incredibly fast, outspeeding key threats like Cobalion.
And hitting hard.
Very hard. That massive special attack boost turned his Hurricane move, which uses special attack, into a devastating weapon. It could just rip through teams. The speed, combined with no guard Hurricane, lethal.
No guard. What's that?
Oh, cripe. Mega Pidgeot got the ability, no guard. It means its moves, and moves used against it, never miss.
So Hurricane, which normally has shaky accuracy.
Always hits.
Yeah.
And it has a chance to confuse the opponent, too. Combined with its speed and power, it was just overwhelming for many Pokemon in UE.
Were there any answers to it?
Very few reliable ones. You need exceptional special bulk, like Blissey, or maybe a very defensive steel type like Empoleon.
What about other fast things like Mega Aerodactyl?
Even Mega Arrows struggled to switch in safely because of stealth rock damage.
Ah, the entry hazard weakness.
Right, and the chance of getting confused by Hurricane if it did switch in. Stealth rock is that hazard that damages Pokemon switching in, remember? And flying types like Pidgeot are weak to rock, so it hurt quite a bit.
Oh, it was so good it got banned from underused.
Yep. It got moved up to borderline, or BL. Too strong for UU. That's an incredible leap for something that lived in NU for generations.
That's amazing. But it didn't stay banned forever. It came back to you.
It did, eventually. But it returned as a top-level threat. Mega Aerodactyl was still around as a checking competitor.
But Mega Pidgeot could still thrive.
Definitely. Especially if your team could keep Stealth Rock off the field. Then it could use U-turn more freely to pivot out and maintain momentum.
U-turn. So it wasn't just blasting away with Hurricane.
It had options. U-turn let it scout, escape bad matchups, and bring in teammates safely. It became this fast, powerful special attacker that could also provide momentum.
Threatening things like Infernape, Cobalion.
Exactly. Frailer offensive Pokemon that couldn't outspeed it were in big trouble. It really carved out a powerful niche in Gen 6 UU, a definitive threat.
It's just wild thinking how it went from the bottom to being banned and then a top threat.
It really shows how game mechanics can totally reshape a Pokemon's fate.
And did that success carry over into Generation 7?
It did, yeah. Mega Pidgeot remained a very strong, influential Pokemon in the underused tier throughout Gen 7. Still a major threat.
So Mega Evolution really was its saving grace, at least in standard single battles. But what about other formats, like Double Battles VGC?
Ah, yeah, that's a very different story.
Not so good.
Not really, no. Regular Pidgeot, the non-Mega form, has pretty much always struggled in VGC doubles.
Why is that? Too frail.
Partly, yeah. Too frail and just generally outclassed. Other flying types often bring more useful support, especially setting up Tailwind for speed control. Pidgeot wasn't the best at that.
And things like Talonflame probably didn't help its cause back in the day.
Exactly. Talonflame, with its priority Brave Bird and Gale Wing's Tailwind, offered way more immediate impact. Regular Pidgeot just couldn't compete effectively in that kind of fast-paced doubles environment.
So a star in singles UU, thanks to its Mega, but kind of a non-factor in VGC, shows how format matters.
Absolutely. Different arenas, different demands.
Now, we've talked stats, but competitive players put a ton of work into training those stats, right? With effort values, EVs.
Oh, definitely. EVs are crucial. They're those hidden points you get from battling specific Pokemon.
And you use them to boost specific stats.
Exactly. You can get a total of 510 EVs, but only 255 max in any one stat. So for Mega Pidgeot, you dump EVs into special attack and speed.
To make it hit as hard and move as fast as possible.
Precisely. You strategically invest those points. Good EV training can make a huge difference in performance.
And aren't there ways to speed that up, like special items or poker cars?
Yeah, there are power items that give extra EVs for a specific stat after battle, though they might slow you down during the training itself. And Pokeris is this rare, beneficial virus.
Sounds weird.
It is a bit, but it doubles all the EVs your Pokemon gains. So if you get it, training becomes much faster, super sought after by competitive players.
And then there are IVs and natures too, more hidden stats.
Right. Fordathis, individual values, are like the Pokemon's genes for stats, a number from 0 to 31 for each stat, set when you get the Pokemon. Higher is better, generally.
And natures?
Natures give a 10% boost to one stat and a 10% penalty to another, unless it's a neutral nature. So for Mega Pidgeot, you'd want something like a timid nature.
Which boosts speed and lowers.
Lowers attack, which Mega Pidgeot doesn't use anyway, since it attacks, especially with Hurricane.
Yeah.
So you optimize everything EVs, IVs, nature for its specific role.
Wow. There's a lot more going on under the hood than you might think just playing through the game normally.
For sure. Competitive Pokemon has layers upon layers of strategy right down to the training.
Well, this has been a really fascinating look at Pidgeot. From, totally overlooked
Well, class, yeah.
to having this incredible reign in UU thanks to Mega Evolution. Even if it wasn't dominant everywhere, it's quite a story arc.
It really is. It's that perfect aha moment, isn't it? Even a Pokemon you think you know, like Pidgeot, can have this really complex, surprising history, depending on the game mechanics and how people play.
So the next time you see a Pidgeot, maybe remember it's not just that classic early game bird. It's got a real story of struggle, and then, for a while at least, genuine competitive power.
Absolutely. And it makes you think, what other Pokemon that seem simple on the surface have these kinds of hidden competitive journeys?
That's a great thought to end on. Maybe worth looking into the competitive history of some of your own favorites. You might be surprised what you find.